Robert Redford wasn't just a movie star. He secretly built an empire worth nearly $200 million. And most people have no idea how. Let me ask you something. What do you think of when you hear the name Robert Redford? The charming outlaw in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid? The fearless journalist in All the President's Men? Or maybe the quiet visionary who turned a small dream in Utah into the world's biggest stage for independent film? Now, here's the twist most people don't know. Behind the Hollywood glamour, Redford wasn't just an actor. He was a businessman, a strategist, and a creator of wealth who built an empire worth hundreds of millions. And tonight, I'm taking you deep inside his journey, his struggles, his breakthroughs, his empire, his legacy. So buckle up. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, because I drop stories like this every single day at 7 p.m. You won't want to miss what's coming next. Robert Redford was born in Santa Monica, California in 1936. But here's the kicker. He didn't grow up with wealth, privilege, or any golden Hollywood connections. His father was an accountant, his mom a homemaker. The Redfords lived a modest life. And young Robert, or Bob as his friends called him, was a bit of a rebel. He struggled in school, felt out of place, and even turned to drinking in his teenage years. In fact, he once admitted he nearly threw his life away before it even started. But what saved him wasn't money, it wasn't even acting. It was art. He got a scholarship to study painting in Colorado, and later traveled to Europe, sketching, drinking wine, living free. That's where he found himself. That's where he discovered storytelling. And when he came back to the US, he didn't come back as a lost kid. He came back hungry to prove himself. Now let's not sugarcoat this. Robert Redford didn't just stroll into Hollywood and land a leading role. In the late 1950s, he was broke. He was hustling odd jobs. He was auditioning for TV shows, theater plays, anything he could find. And rejection? He knew it well. Casting directors told him he wasn't the right type, not edgy enough, not what they were looking for. There were nights when Redford thought of quitting. But here's the thing. He had grit. He had this fire inside him that said, I may not fit into their mold, but I'll create my own. And slowly, opportunity started knocking. First, small roles on television, then Broadway, and finally his breakout on the big screen. But it wasn't instant fame. He had to grind, hustle, and take risks most actors wouldn't take. That persistence, that's what laid the foundation for his wealth and success later on. The turning point, 1969, that was the year Robert Redford starred alongside Paul Newman in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. That film didn't just make him famous, it made him immortal. Audiences fell in love with the Sundance Kid. The charm, the smile, the effortless cool. Hollywood came calling, and suddenly Redford was everywhere. The Sting, The Great Gatsby, All the President's Men, Out of Africa. By the mid-70s and 80s, he wasn't just an actor. He was one of the most bankable stars in the world. His salary per film skyrocketed. He was earning millions at a time when $1 million was real money. But here's the genius. Instead of blowing it all on cars, mansions, and parties, Redford started thinking like a businessman. He started building an empire. This is where the story gets really interesting. Robert Redford wasn't satisfied being a movie star. He wanted control. He wanted to shape the stories that were told. So in the early 1980s, he bought land in Utah, not Beverly Hills, not Malibu, not New York, Utah, a place most Hollywood insiders thought was the middle of nowhere. And there he built the Sundance Resort, a retreat for artists, a place for skiing, creativity, and community. But he didn't stop there. In 1981, he founded the Sundance Institute, its mission to support independent filmmakers. And from that institute came something massive, the Sundance Film Festival. Now think about this. Sundance went from a small gathering of artists to the largest independent film festival in the world. It launched careers of directors like Quentin Tarantino, Steven Soderbergh, and Darren Aronofsky. It became a brand, a business, a global cultural phenomenon. Redford turned his vision into a money-making machine. Ticket sales, sponsorships, film deals, real estate, resorts. Sundance wasn't just art, it was enterprise. And that's why his net worth soared. Estimates put it anywhere from $170 million to $200 million. Not just from acting salaries, but from land, businesses, production companies, and brand licensing. In other words, Robert, Redford mastered the art of turning creativity into capital. Of course, no empire is built without controversy. Some accused Redford of being too political. Others criticized the Sundance Film Festival for becoming too commercial, drifting away from its indie roots. There were battles over land use in Utah, debates about elitism at Sundance, and even questions about whether Redford was spreading himself too thin. But here's the truth. When you create something that big, criticism is part of the package. And Redford? He handled it with the same calm, quiet strength that made him a star. He never shouted. He never chased tabloids. He just kept building. So what can we learn from Robert Redford's story? First, reinvention matters. He didn't stop at being an actor. He became a director, a businessman, an activist. He wore many hats, and that's how he created wealth that lasted. Second, bet on yourself. When Hollywood didn't give him control, he built his own stage in Utah. That risk paid off, not just financially, but historically. Third, legacy is bigger than money. Redford's empire wasn't just about wealth, it was about creating opportunity for others. Filmmakers, artists, dreamers. And that's the kind of success that lives on long after the money is gone. Robert Redford lived a life most of us can only dream of. But the real magic wasn't in the movies. It was in the way he turned vision into reality, art into enterprise, and passion into wealth. So tonight, as we remember him, ask yourself this: what dream are you sitting on that could be your empire? Thank you for listening, my friend. Don't forget, I drop a new story like this every single day at 7 p.m. Hit that subscribe button, share this with someone who needs a spark of inspiration, and I'll see you tomorrow.